Hello, welcome to Paradive Podcast, episode 7. So, we have a lot in store for you today. I did quite a lot of reading today. I did quite a lot of walking. Actually, no, I didn't do a lot of walking. I got the bus, but then I walked back to my studio, and now we're here. So, you know what? I'll do a little tangent to start off with. So, on the bus, I listened to this conversation. It was like I figured out they were probably like 16, 17. They were probably in like college, sixth form. Like in the UK, we have like a sixth form. So it's basically the last 2 years of high school for Americans. So like they were like 16, 17, assumedly. And just, I don't know, they were just very posh. They were very like upper class. They had these really, really posh accents. Like my accent's kind of posh, but I'm not from that world at all whatsoever. But they were like really like you could tell they were raised reading Jane Austen, and like they actually had to do all the like dinner table mannerisms. Like you can tell they were raised in that environment. And it was just so like I don't know. I kind of saw the it's like when you're growing up, you don't see what 16-year-old girls are like. Like when you're 16, you're like, oh, they're girls my own age. Like, oh, they're this, they're that. But then when you're like older than 16, you just see through it for what it is. It's like they're being super judgmental. They're being super immature. It's like you see the immaturity the older you get, and you can tell in the things they value, the conversations they talk about, the way their conversations revolve around. Like just it was just gossip. I was just obviously you shouldn't eavesdrop, but like I'm trying to do the thing where I don't have my headphones in constantly. I don't have like distractions. I'm trying to just sit in silence if I take a bus ride or a walk, like 15 minutes, and it works. It helps you improve your attention span slowly but surely when you're not constantly filling your mind with music. So yeah, I was just trying to like sit there and I was listening. I was just like, they're just talking about like, they were literally talking about like the little mannerisms that like boys did. Like, oh, when we were in form group, uh, Jessica didn't smile at me. Oh, she's such a bitch. Like, I can't believe that. What does that mean? Why didn't she smile back when I smiled? Like, what? And then Tom, when I invited him to the party today, he actually laughed with his group, and then he walked to the left, and he kind of faced away from me when he was talking to his friends. What does that mean? It's like they were just hypo analyzing like little mannerisms, like in their like college environment. It just made me think like how small your world can be when you're that young. And I'm not judging. Like I was like that when I was 16. I was judging like little mannerisms, but it's interesting how like everyone shares those insecurities. Like, what did that mean? Am I going to lose my social group? Because that's what it really means. It's like when they're asking like, why didn't X smile back at me? They're really asking, am I going to lose my social group? Am I going to lose this control I have over this power dynamic? Like they're really asking about like, is the hierarchy going to crumble? Is my power dynamic going to crumble? Like that's what they're actually inquiring about. So you can tell like why people are interested in that. But yeah, just a little tidbit. I just thought it was interesting. Just you really, when you kind of come into your own, you have your own personality, your own persona. You start to see how different personas you used to interact with are. Because I grew up around like posh girls, like posh kind of middle class women and guys and stuff, but like I didn't see how kind of absurd or extreme it is until like it's been years since I've really interacted with them, and then I hear their conversations out loud again. It just felt so. It felt like a cartoon. It just felt like a TV show. It just felt so extreme. It's like their persona was so extreme. They didn't have any mediation. They didn't have any like I don't know non-stereotypical qualities. It's like they fit the exact archetype of the stereotype that they fit. It just felt like there was no nuance there, and that's a topic for another time. I have loads of thoughts on the idea of nuance and stereotypes, but we'll talk about the stuff I noted down. But yeah, this is interesting. When searching for your like life purpose and your goal, or like casual passing phrases can serve as signs. So it's like instead of your friend being like, "Oh, you have to do this. You have to join my band. You have to be a musician with me. You have to do this. You have to join my business. You have to be a bartender. You have to do this." It's like direct people trying to tell you what you should do is never true. But often you can find your destiny in like passing conversations. Like maybe you're walking down the street or you're having a coffee and you just hear two people having a conversation. Like you have you overhear something, or you're serving a customer and you're doing like a customer service job, and then someone just says a passing phrase, and somehow that it's like a TV show. It's like a drama. It's like a scene's happening, there's like a mystery element to it, and then one character drops like just a passing phrase, but like it's enough to like trigger this like new idea of like, oh, this. I think this happened in the first season of Game of Thrones. I think when the whole question of Joffrey's birthright is in question, Sansa Stark says something like, "The seed is strong," or someone says that. And it's true. It's like just that passing phrase said by Sansa led Eddard Stark to start researching, like the Baratheon family, black of hair, black of hair, black of hair, and it's like the passing phrase is the trigger. So sometimes a passing phrase in your life, they do that in House MD as well. It's like House will spend 40 minutes of the episode trying to figure out this mystery, and then suddenly like a passing phrase in a conversation with Wilson or 13 is the trigger that gets his mind to click everything together. And it works exactly like that in real life. Like you ruminate and mull over the mystery for years and years and years, this mulling jigsaw of like, what's my purpose, what do I do, what do I do, you keep working on it, and suddenly 30 years into your life, 45 minutes into the 50-minute episode, someone says something and it all just clicks, and you're like, oh, it all makes sense all at once. And that is kind of the process. So yeah, I don't want to linger on that, but yeah, it's a cool idea. Yeah, it's a very cool idea. Random side note, Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent is an incredible album. Like, it's kind of forgotten now. It's like people are listening to Metro Boomin or Future, but like people need to go back and listen to the classics and the greats, because there are some classics in rap and hip hop. Like Get Rich or Die Trying, every song's a banger. Every song is super catchy. Every song is just super like, it just has that energy. Like it just makes you motivated and you want to try harder and harder and harder. And it's like it's like a pop album. It's like it's loads of just hooks and catchy hooks. Like it doesn't rely on rap that much. Like 50 raps with a slur because he's been shot. Like he has, he had I don't know if he has a replacement jaw, but he has that kind of voice now because of the shooting. Like he doesn't even rap that fast. He kind of slurs, but he says everything with a toughness and this attitude where you respect what he says. You want to listen, even though he's not like the greatest rapper. It's like it's still good and it works for the style with that like Dr. Dre production. It's just very motivating. Like if you actually want to like wake up in the morning and feel motivated and just energized, like yeah, let's go, let's get it. Like 50%. Get Rich or Die Trying. It's just fantastic. It's great when you're like kind of feeling aggressive and like maybe you want to hit the gym or something. Like it's just great. It's a really good album. I recommend it to everyone. Instead of listening to Metro Boomin today, and I love Metro Boomin, it's good. Instead of listening to Future, give 50 Cent a shot. The idea of dating is interesting because I think people say these days everyone's super anxious. Like, oh, you need to be fully healed to date. You need to be 100% yourself, and then you don't meet your other half. You meet someone who's fully abundant in themselves. And yes, that's great. That's great advice. Like you should be abundant in yourself and your own standing, but you also need to realize that life is a journey, and like maybe you shouldn't be perfect and whole. Maybe you should see them as a project to work on. Like, oh, they clearly have all these problems. Like I can point those problems out to them and help them grow as a person. And then they can do the exact same to me. Then we can both grow at the same time with and because of each other, because we're both pointing out each other's problems on an intimate level that our friends would never do for us because they don't know us that intimately. But our intimate partner does. So they'll point out things no one would ever point out about us and make us very aware. And it might hurt, but it would give us the ultimate growth. So like relationships can be pursued as like collective growth. Like you're both growing together in this incredible way. It's a very interesting idea. Because like what is a relationship if not growth? Like, because you can grow alone, but you can grow faster with another person. Like you should see it as an adventure. Like you should be excited that person isn't perfect and you're not perfect, and they're gonna point out non-perfect things about you, and they're gonna like reveal them like just through behavior. They don't have to verbally point it out. They'll just reveal it. And like you should be excited for that. Like that's what a relationship's about. Like you're growing together. You're having like a literal adventure together. Like you're just exploring like new psychological territory together. And it's like this beautiful experience. So yeah. Heal yourself, keep healing, keep showing up for your purpose every day. But you can get into a relationship and like you can help grow each other. Like you can get into relationships somewhat strategically. Like you both help each other grow. You both catalyze each other at the maximum rate you could catalyze each other at this state in life. And then even if you break up in 2 years, it's like then you find another person who's the most appropriate for that stage of your life. So for the next 2 or 3 years, you're growing at this rate with this new person, and then you break up, and then you meet someone else, and then you grow at this rate with this specific person, and you're growing in all these different directions until you're kind of more and more well-rounded, until like maybe like your late 30s, early 40s, you meet like that final person who you're not going to break up with, and then you just like stay together, get married. Hopefully not late 40s, but let's say you have loads of relationships in your early 20s, and then you just hit this like stride at like 28 where like you do meet like someone and they've been through the exact same growth as you, that stride, and they're in this like momentum moment of like they've just gotten out of like 4 relationships over the past 8 years, and like they're kind of ready to give up, but like maybe not, maybe they're like 35, maybe they're 32, and it's like because you've both had kind of equal experience, you've both grown kind of to the semi-max, you've reached like diminishing returns, like you're kind of 80% of the way to like your maximum character building, and then you both meet at the same time, it's the right moment, you both have the correct amount of experience, and then it's like it's so the conditions are so perfect, you guys just make it work for the next 50 years because like nothing more perfect is going to come along other than that moment. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about. So yeah, thank you for watching. I think a shorter episode today, but I'm trying to make it more succinct. So yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Paradive Podcast, and good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Make sure to get into a relationship or something.